We're gonna play one more song. One more song for you guys. We're gonna switch it up a bit. We're gonna switch the tempo up a bit. Just a tad. Matter of fact, Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. I don't know what time it is where you're from, but where I'm from, it is currently 04:52. And today, oh, I know what's going on. There it is. There it is. There it is. Now I know why my mic. Does my mic sound noise? Yeah, shit. And I played those wonderful, beautiful songs with my mic not fully where it needed to be. I do apologize. This is Apex 3900. You are now tuned into the Apex 3900 program. And today we will be talking about none other than Ragnarok. Now, this is a bit of a different speed than I would say most would like, you know. It's a bit different. This is not for everybody. This has an acquired taste, but please try to follow me here. I'm going to attempt to use Ragnarok as a, how you say, a metaphor for the human existence as it pertains to Black folks. You know, obviously, not saying that these metaphors cannot be applicable to other groups. However, you know how I get out. All right, I'm Black. Most of my friends growing up were Black. Most of the Females I dated throughout the course of my life were black. I mean, just is what it is. Now, see the overall premise of Oh, and before I get into this, I've been playing the latest installment of the God of War, and it has a Old Norse theme to it. You know, so that kind of gave me some inspiration to do this because I was playing it last night, and I was like, bingo, there it is. So yeah, but the overall premise of Ragnarok is an unavoidable event that is going to happen, and the more you try to fight it, the more you try to delay it, you'll just waste more energy and waste more time. It would be in your best interest to just because you can't stop it. You know what I mean? But the first step is recognizing that you can't stop it, you know? Like if you're walking across the street and you see a car coming at you, what are you gonna do? You are you gonna just continue? And he's kind of close. He's kind of close. Are you gonna jog? Are you gonna pick up the pace and do a little light jog to get your ass out the way? Or are you just gonna say, man, fuck that. I'm gonna continue my little slow bop down this across this motherfucking street. Look, nigga, you can't stop him. You cannot stop him. All right. Let me check the chat real quick. All right. Without further ado, and I do apologize for the late start. All right. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok, Old Norse Ragnarok, fate of the gods, is a series of events including a great battle foretold to lead to the death of a number of great figures, including the gods Odin, Thor, Tyr, Freya, uh, Helmder. Please forgive me if I butcher these names, and Loki. Natural disasters and the submersion of the world in water. Stop right there. Kinda sounds like the Great Flood. Hmm. Hmm. Afterwards, excuse me. After these events, the world will resurface anew and fertile. The surviving and returning gods will meet, and the world will be repopulated by two human survivors. Hmm. You know, that kind of sounds like two. That kind of sounds like pre Adam and Eve. Wow. I'm sorry, that just fucking blew my mind right there. Okay, continuing. Ragnarok is an important event in Norse mythology and has been the subject of scholarly discourse and theory in the history of Germanic studies. The event is tested primarily in the poet Edda, compiled in the 13th century from earlier traditional sources, and the Prose Edda, written in the 13th century by um, Snorri. You know what? Google the shit. In the Prose Edda, in single poem, in the poem Edda, the event is referred to as Ragnarok. Definition: Old Norse for twilight of the gods. a usage popularized by the 19th century composer Richard Wagner with the title of the last of his during this been the nigga made shit. Nigga made opera music. G, you know what I'm saying? Go search the shit. Which is Twilight of the Gods in German. Okay, all right, too easy. Now, y'all want to hear this poetry? Y'all want to hear this poetry about Ragnarok? Huh? Let me know. Let me know. Where is the actual poem? They got it here. Kind of going off of a stream of consciousness right now. Oh, here it is. Here it. What? English? Do you speak it, motherfucker? All right. All right. Boy, it's about to get me upset. I'm like, all these motherfucking translations, and the first ones are in German and all this other shit. I'm like, bruh, put this shit in English first. So American to me. Which translation am I gonna roll with? Because these people are they're translating it from Old Norse. Hold on now. Let me get a sip of my coffee. I appreciate you guys taking this journey with me. We're gonna do the oldest one that I see. I'm not even gonna read the folks' name because I'm done trying to. I'm done trying to read these motherfucking difficult ass names. All right, here we go. I remember the giants born of yarn who bred me up long ago. I remember 9 worlds, 9 Sibyls, a glorious judge beneath the earth. In the beginning, when naught was, there was neither sand nor sea, nor cold waves, nor was earth to be seen, nor heaven above. There was a yawning chasm or chaos, but grass nowhere. Mm, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can make much of that right there. Let's go back quick. Let's go back real quick. Okay, we got that one. And hold on. I think I might have found the actual poem. Nope. Nope. You know what? Because basically, y'all know, y'all done heard of Ragnarok and shit, right? Y'all done seen the Marvel film Ragnarok, right? And you know, they tried to they tried to divert certain events from happening, and they came to the conclusion, hey, we can't stop Ragnarok. We gotta let Ragnarok happen, and then we can move from there. You know what I'm saying? Then we can repopulate, you know? But it's like I said, there's a bottleneck effect that I believe should occur. You know what I'm gonna call that? The bottleneck effect and the founders effect concept that I speak on. I'm gonna call that Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Yeah. I like that shit. So from now on, when I hear niggas sitting up on a motherfucking panel, what are you doing for the community? What are you doing for the community? We need to, we need to mentor these boys and these chillins, you know. You see, we needs to mentor these chillins. Somebody need to take care of these kids. My reply will be simple: Ragnarok, Ragnarok. Let me see if I can pull up some audio real quick. Let me see from your from your from your guys' favorite villain. Come on. I can't meet your approval, so please keep your hand claps. Matter of fact, we're gonna play a couple. Cease to exist. What I predicted came to pass. All six stones I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy. Then what? I finally rest. Watch the sunrise on a grateful universe. The hardest choices require the strongest will. Yeah, yeah. The hardest choices require the strongest wills. You know, I remember one time, right, back home, I was living off 19th and Spruce, right? First house, bought my first house, and right around the corner, well, around the corner on Jackson and Truman, there's a gas station, right? And it it's one of those gas stations that also has a fast food restaurant attached to it, has a Wendy's attached to it, right? And I went in there one day, grabbed me something to eat, and I walked in the bathroom, right? And there were two boys. They had to be about 9, 10, 11 years old. And they live around the neighborhood. It's not my first time seeing them around the neighborhood, right? And they had like some change and a couple of ones together, and they had them, and they were, counting them out and shit. They were trying to get something to eat, man. They were trying to get something to eat. You think I could save them? Hmm? What am I supposed to do? Take them in, raise them like my fucking son? You think that shit don't affect me? Seeing that shit? You think that shit don't affect me? Huh? Mr. Pro Quack? Nigga, Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Another event, I'm gonna tell you. Another event. Same location, different day. This was back in my pro black days. Back when I had dreadlocks and I wore a bunch of t-shirts with African prints on them and shit. You know, the red, yellow, and green, red, black, and green shit, man. This was at the height of me reading Chancellor Williams and Ivan Van Sertima's and, you know, Marcus Garvey uh, biographies, A Negro in a Hat. Came into this same Wendy's, right? It was an older gentleman, looked to be about 50, 50 something, maybe 60. Head full of gray hair. Now I should thinking back on it, I know who he was in relation to the younger gentleman. But at the time I'm like, but anyway, let me continue with the story. So this kid, right, around the same age as these other two kids, is in the Wendy's in line talk about, man, me and my homies gonna run in here with the chop and like saying this shit out loud to like I look at him and he's like saying it just like up in this motherfucker talking shit. I look at the cashier, you know, she's conducting business, but she looking up and cutting her eyes. Me and her make eye contact and she look at him and this nigga going on and on, nigga. Nigga, we run up in here with the chop, nigga. And this was a kid, G. A fucking kid, G. Niggas, kids from my city will kill you, man. You can't just run up on a 10-year-old. In the you in the wrong side of town and you run up on a 10-year-old, nigga. That nigga will up a 25 or 22. Hell, he might up a goddamn 9 milli on you if he can handle that motherfucker. So I put my hand on his head and I said, take it easy, little bro. Don't be in a rush to grow up. I didn't scold him. I just told him, hey, take this shit easy, man. Don't be in a rush to grow up. And I looked at the older gentleman that was with him. And he had like a scruffy ass white tee. Thinking back on it now, that's that nigga. That was that nigga's crackhead. You know what I'm saying? Like you know how niggas in the hood getting their shit off. You know they got their crackhead that only spin with them. You know what I'm saying? What what Rush say? I still got my first. He said up in the mirror, got my first $2. He said up. No, he said up in the frame. I got my first $2. I still got my first two clucks. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at the older gentleman. He kind of had like he wasn't smiling real big, but he had like a grin, like "Thank you, thank you." He kind of gave me a look on his. He had a look on his face, like "Thank you." I'm not in a position to do that, but thank you. Now, let me tell you. Let me tell you what happens next. Right? Check the news the next day because I didn't have cable. I just had basic TV, so I was always watching the news. And the shit was crazy because the neighborhood that I was living in, shit always happening. My neighborhood, this particular neighborhood, stayed in the fucking news. If you know, you know. G, shit's crazy. Excuse me. Check the news. It's either later on that day or the next day. Can't remember exactly. Guess what was happening? Yes, somebody. Not saying this young fella did it, but somebody did indeed run up in that motherfucker with the chop. I came back a few days later and actually seen the bullet holes inside. So I don't know if one of the workers there ran afoul with this with him or somebody that he was affiliated with, and he came back letting the motherfuckers know, hey, fast food workers, don't get fucked up. It's our neighborhood. We'll run in this motherfucker and start popping off some shots. You know what I'm saying? True story, G. True. Now, what the fuck am I supposed to do in that situation, huh? Hmm? What you expect me to do, Mr. Pro Quack? Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Also, this concept can be applied to relationships, because I know some of you fellas are going through it with your baby moms. You know, she tripping, got you on child support. She ain't, you got a parenting plan. She ain't obligating it. You know what I mean? You go back, the judge ain't doing shit. He just wag his finger at the bitch and say, Miss Such and Such, you can't be doing that. See, Mr. Charlie Hills, eyes Mr. Charlie Hills don't like that. Okay, wrong voice. But you get my point. See, okay, Zaddy. I'll do better, I promise. Get outside that motherfucker, back to business as usual. You understand me? You cannot stress yourself out to the point to where you take it out on yourself, you know, because I'm a Virgo, right? I'm an August Virgo. I always said I was, yeah. So I'm an August Virgo. Shout out to my August Virgos, man. Kobe Bryant, Paul Robeson. Who else? Michael Jackson. It's a few more that are August Virgos too. But those are just, offhand. Who else? Oh, me. Forgot about that. Yes. Can't forget me. Yours truly. But and if you know anything about Virgos, we are very critical. Very critical. We judge, we critique any and everything. And everything gotta be perfect. Everything gotta be perfect. You know. Over the years, like when I do my school, when I was in my class and I was doing my schoolwork, I like to, when I'm doing my math problems, I like to set up and write out my math work on the paper in a certain way. And I didn't want to mess it up because I wanted to utilize all the space on my paper. You know what I mean? I didn't want it to be sloppy. But sometimes, it didn't work out like that. Sometimes when I'm dividing a problem, it's going to go down the page a little too far, which is going to mess up the continuity of the next problem that I do. If you catch my drift. And I used to always have to tell myself, it ain't got to be perfect, Ben. It ain't got to be perfect. Just do the work, keep pushing. It ain't got to be perfect. Now, like I spoke about in on David Johnson's panel, I gave my testimony, and I thought it was fitting for that brother Rue and also other brothers who may be going through similar situations that I went through. You know, I had to accept. It was some things I had to accept. You know, the main reason why I got myself in a bad stead like that and found myself falling deep into this abyss was because I wanted everything to be perfect. And I knew I was responsible for this. I, not her, I was. And I could not get over it. And I beat myself up because now I have a beautiful baby girl who will be subjected to the folly of this bitch. And I could not take that shit. You know, I'm in fucking Spokane, Washington, or Boise, Idaho on New Year's Eve and shit. My big rig, all kind of thoughts running through my fucking head. It's New Year's Eve over there at my baby mama's house. You know, I wonder if she got some nigga over there celebrating New Year's Eve with her. Got some nigga up in my baby mama house drinking and smoking and my baby in there. And I don't know what type of character this nigga possess. And that dumbass bitch don't know what type of character he possess, but she want him around anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of thoughts go through your head as a father. What's happening? Hey, you still haven't told me if you are male or a female. I need confirmation on that. Cause you blowing kisses and shit. I don't, you know, if you want, I'm just saying. You know, for real. But those type of things, bro, go through your mind as a single father when you're going through it, man. And it's a hard thing to think about, man. You know, my little brother said something to me. I need to stop saying little brother because he ain't my little brother no more. It's my younger brother. You know what I'm saying? Me and this nigga about the same size. I think he got a hair on me in height. Might be a couple pounds heavier than me. He ain't my little brother no more. I just been calling him my little brother for so long. It just got a nice ring to it. But anyway, he became a father a few years before me. Now, the reason why I kind of jumped the gun and I didn't quite do my due diligence in vetting my baby mama is because I envisioned an ideal of my kids growing up with his kids. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to you feel me? I didn't want his kids to be like 10 years older than my kids. You know, I wanted them to go to each other's birthday parties growing up, have sleepovers and shit. That shit, man. So when my shorty dropped, you know, and I took the blood test or the DNA test and it came back mine, it was confirmed. We made it official, put her picture up on Facebook, all the fam and shit came through. Oh, welcome to the fam, peaches. Yes, bitch. And so I seen my bro, right? And we talking. Just me and him. Matter of fact, I think we brought her over to his house. Me and my mom did. And I think Alex was there. Ooh, shit. Oh well. Oh well. Run tell that nigga. And my baby mama was there as well, right? And so, they in there doing that girl talk shit, his wife, my BM and my mom's and shit. And so we step outside, we chatting it up and shit. And we not really chatting it up. We just kind of in silence, right? And he says, man, it's a lot to think about, huh? And I paused for a second and I said, God damn, this nigga right. I said, yeah, you right. So, when I was going through what I was going through, I refuse to accept Ragnarok, especially when the shit got tumultuous, when the great battle between my baby mama and I ensued. When that great battle ensued, I didn't want to let go of that ideal that I had in my head. And it was then when I was on my literally, this is not hyperbole, this is literal. When I literally was on my deathbed, did I understand what the term let go and let God meant. See, Ragnarok is just another way of saying let go and let God. If the destruction of Black America as we know it, you know, from today's hip hop, dance culture, our food that we eat, some of our social mores and, some of our culture, the barbecue, the cookout and shit, the Soul Train line, all that shit, all that good shit, you know, jazz music. Shout out to the 18th and Vine Jazz District back home in Kansas City. If you know, you know. Man, I'm gonna do a live broadcast, live vlogcast and shit in my city one of these days. I promise y'all. I'm gonna wake y'all game up on my city, bruh. It's gonna be like a 8 hour fucking vlogcast, bro. I'm gonna get a GoPro and we gonna go from First Street all the way down to 140th. Then we're gonna go from the east side where I grew up, the house I grew up, my neighborhood, all the way out to the west side. And when I mean west side, I mean Village West and KCK. But going back to the 90s hip hop, the golden age of hip hop, that boom bap, you know what I mean? Then you take it back to the 80s hip hop with the pop locking and shit. And the break dancing and shit. You know what I mean? And you take it back to the 70s and that whole vibe and that whole culture. I mean, not whole culture, but yeah, that whole culture. Yeah, because that's where the shit started. Really started in the 60s, but it took off in the 70s. But going all the way back to the roaring 20s, the first roaring 20s. Because we're in the roaring 20s right now. With the first roaring 20s, with the speakeasies and shit, and the vamps and shit, and the Ray's Boom Boom Room, man. Come on, man. If that Black America has to die, I say this with a heavy heart, so don't get my words misconstrued. It has to die. Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Now, I'm not saying that the brothers who are out here putting in the work, shout out to Jason Black. He truly, truly feels for our people. And trust me when I say this, I completely understand. If anybody understands, I understand. But with that said, that's why I don't concern myself with the losers of our community, not the Pookies and the Ray. Well, you know, or the Pookies and the Ray Rays, if you want to put it like that. But I don't concern myself with the losers, the degenerates, the dregs. I'm not trying to save them. I'm here for the elite. I want the motherfuckers who get it. If you get it, hey, come tap in with me. I'll take you there. But like the children of Israel, man, wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Man, it's a certain segment that ain't going to the promised land. They not going. They not going. They gotta want. Hey, until this populace of degenerate motherfuckers die off, we'll never get in the promised land. They gonna die off. Don't get it twisted. Don't let these fucking out of wedlock birth rates and the rate of bastard baby making fool you. Now, don't get me wrong, G. I know that sounds kind of contradictory because I'm technically a bastard baby maker, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? For you single moms out there that's actually got a lick of sense about you when it comes to rearing your kids, this ain't for you. For you brothers out there putting on for your children, this ain't about you. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not even going to describe who I'm talking about because you already know. Them motherfuckers gotta go. And their hell spawns that they're raising. Ragnarok. Ragnarok. When you look at the time, it is 05:30. I woke up late. I set my alarm to 04 so I can get up, get my coffee, get my shit prepped and shit for the show. And I woke up at 04:36. Had to scramble. That's why I had to play that music, man, at the beginning of the broadcast. If you're listening to it on the playback and kind of I might clip that shit out, man, for real. Cause my mic wasn't right. My mic wasn't sounding nice. So I might have to just clip that shit out for real. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I gotta be a PT, man, here in about the next hour. I'm about to head out next 40 minutes, so I gotta get dressed, do my own personal stretching and shit, and get to it. But yeah, man. Let me say it one more time. Ragnarok. Google it. It's on Wikipedia, man. Look it up. Do your research. Hell, go watch Thor Ragnarok. You know what I'm saying? To get some additional concept about it. This shit has to happen. But yeah, this is Apex 3900. Thick Gizzle, man. Get up on that.